I hear people every day ask me, does stretching really work? They've all tried it. They've gone to yoga classes, they've gone to gym class, they've been to coaches and trainers, they've been to stretching classes at the gym, they've even tried physical therapy. And yet, every time they try to do any little thing around their house, they injure themselves. Or they go out to have a friendly game of tennis and they injure themselves. So does stretching actually work? Today we're going to talk about the biggest mistake people make when stretching, and those people include the professionals as well. Welcome back to the Muscle Repair Shop. My name is Butch Phelps. I'm a functional massage therapist, certified health coach, and an expert in aging sciences. And today we're going to talk about the biggest mistake most people make when they're stretching. Now, when we think about stretching, we always think about it from a physical standpoint. So in our minds, we typically visualize we're pulling a piece of taffy or we're pulling rubber bands. We're going to force those muscles to let go. The reality is that the muscles are far more emotional than they are physical. And that's the biggest mistake people make. And I'm going to go a little more in depth with that as well. And so let me explain what I mean by that. On a physical side, you lift something up, you throw something over there, you pull something back. That's all physical motion of the muscles. And yes, that can make your muscles tight. But the emotions that you feel in your brain also play a huge role. In fact, how the emotions in your brain are working will decide how much tightness that you have. So think about this for a minute. If you're in an angry state, your brain goes into what's called the fight or flight response, and all the muscles from the neck down will become tense, ready to fight or ready to run. And so the whole posture of your body changes, but at the same time it can make the muscles tight. If you're in a state of sadness or you're worried about something, this, because of this emotion, will cause the muscles in your body to be tight. And I bet so for some of you, you probably had a day where you worried all day about something and felt exhausted by the end of the day. And yet you didn't do anything physically. So my point is that whatever emotions that you're feeling in your body will cause the muscles to be tight. Now, for most of you, you think, well, I'll go to the stretch class, I'll stretch out my legs, I'll stretch out my back, and that's going to just make me feel better all over. And momentarily it may for some of you, but for the majority of you, it doesn't last very long. And secondly, it just doesn't work. So the biggest mistake that I see people make, including professionals, is not understanding the emotional side of the muscles. So when you are stretching a muscle, holding it for as long as you can, as hard as you can, and you create especially pain as you're doing that, what happens is that the brain then thinks that somebody's attacking you, even though it's you doing the stretching, and it starts to contract the muscles, and it puts you into a strength training mode, not a stretching mode. Secondly, when they're looking at the muscles from the physical only viewpoint, is that if you're a person who rushed into the gym or you rushed into your house and you've been on the go all day long, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, well, now the muscles in your body are extremely tight. You've got to be able to reduce the chatter in the mind so that the mind can relax, and as the mind relaxes, so will your muscles before you can ever stretch out your muscles. One of my professors used to say to me, some of us are part of the Chekhov Society. I did my 10, that's all it was required. I did my 10. Well, there's more to it than that. So when you're stretching, it's not the 10 reps that are so important, although it is important in the sense that it's showing your brain that you can do this without dying, but it's taking those 10 repetitions to breathe out, relax, and allow the muscles to let go. And when you do that, now the brain can see the opportunities for the body. That's the biggest mistake that people make. There's a few others along the way, such as using rubber bands to stretch. Rubber bands were designed for strength training and not for stretching. Not stretching in all the muscles at one time. The calves or the hamstrings are a prime example. The calf muscles are really 4 individual muscles. So 99% of the world, when they stretch their calf or think they do, they're dropping their heel off of a step, they're leaning against the wall, or they get against a slant board thinking they're stretching their calves. Actually, they're stretching their Achilles tendon. They've never stretched their 4 calf muscles. And so that can result in back pain, like if you play golf or you play tennis, because the rotation starts in your ankles and not at your back. But having said all of that, it comes back to releasing the emotional tension of your body by relaxing the mind to relax the muscles. Anytime your mind is in a relaxed state, so will your muscles be. I mean, think about it. How many times have you been chilled out in your head, but your body's a tensed up mess? Or vice versa. Your head's a tensed up mess and your body's chilled out. Usually that's not the case. So if you keep that in mind when you're stretching, and instead of holding a stretch for 15, 20, 30 seconds at a time and trying to force the muscle to release, then instead breathe out, hold it for 5 seconds at a time, but repeat it 10 times, you'll get a much better stretch. And as you learn to work on the individual muscles versus what we traditionally do in stretching, you'll find that your movements will improve greatly. And I've done this with people even into their 80s and 90s with artificial joints. You can get the same thing to happen again. So think about this. If the muscles had the ability to fight with you, make a decision that they didn't want to stretch for that day, your muscles would have the brain. The brain wouldn't be in your head, which would mean you'd have about 653 muscles in your brains in your body, in your body, which would be totally chaos. Because if each muscle had its own brain, what if the right leg decided to go right and the muscles in the left leg decided to go left? You'd be in a pickle. So again, come back to realizing that tight muscles, every thought you have, every movement that you make will tighten your muscles, and that's why stretching is a daily activity. It's not only when you feel tightness someplace, it's a daily activity. In fact, I stretch every morning for about 15, 20 minutes and every evening the same amount of time. Because what it does, it relieves the tension in my body, relieves the tension in my brain, and it allows me to get through my day much better. So if you enjoyed this, please share this with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Ring the bell so you can be reminded on every Friday when a new video comes out. And for now, see ya.